in August of 2013, after our early morning worship service, one of the young adult persons in our congregation came to me and he said, "Did you mean what you said?" And I said, "About what?" And he said, well, yeah, there you go. I'm sitting there hedging my bets. So he says, you say every Sunday, come back next week and bring somebody with you. I have 30 men at a halfway house that have just moved to Talladega. Is Talladega First ready for this? And I said yes, and then went home and prayed that that was true. So I did all of the things they tell us to do. I went to the leadership. I talked to people. I went and visited them with our worship leader for the first time that Tuesday night. My fear was that I would not be able to love them, that there would be this judgmentalness, you know. And I walked in that room and I saw the fear in their faces, the pastor of First United Methodist Church. And it eased for all of us. And you know what, Chris? I didn't have any trouble loving them. And the way it's changed us as a life-giving community, was that the question you asked me?
That's the next question.
Is that the next question?
That's
Oh,
next
jumped.
She's
Can I go ahead and jump
down,
it?
so
Listen.
yeah,
All right, I'll just go ahead and jump it then. All right, just sit down. I'll be back with you in a moment. Reader's Digest, which I have never been able to do. You can come back, Chris. I don't care. Is that it was such a marked change in the congregation. When I was in Talladega before, one of the dear elderly persons in the congregation made the comment that we were very good about giving, but not real good about loving directly and being intensely connected to those we were trying to reach. And so when I came back and this all began, our question, and I talked to judges and attorneys and everyone that I thought would have an axe to grind in this situation. And the answer across the board was, how can we not do it? When one day Dr. Lee Murphy and I were standing in the office, and he was telling me about during one of the work sessions for the Honduras mission trip that we're so involved in, that someone from another denomination and congregation in the community made the comment that they didn't know how we could be in worship with those people. Were we not afraid? And this 88-year-old lady in the congregation, who is a widow, made the statement, well, you know what Jesus said, if the rich person comes in and you give them the best seat, and then the poor person comes in and you stick them in the back of the house, well, Jesus doesn't like that. And so she said, we just can't do that. And Lee said, but Sybil, that's who we used to be. And thank God that's not who Talladega is anymore. They love them. We don't say they worship with us. What we say is they are us. It is us, not them and us. You want that back?
I think my mic's not working, so but very quickly, what piece of advice can you give us about discovering, developing, and deploying spiritual leaders?
Elementary, my dear Chris. Since we've already touched on being engaged and all of these other things, I want to give you the most trite and cliche piece of advice that you've probably been given during this, but I hope that you'll realize it's probably the most powerful. Love them. It is not coincidental that numbers 1 and 2 commandments are love the Lord your God first and most, and love your neighbor as yourself. Everything we do must be motivated, guided, directed by love. I like to put these scriptures together and then I'll stop. First is that without faith it is impossible to please God. Second is the just shall live by faith. Third is that faith works by love. And last of all, God is love. If the Holy Spirit is, as the King James says, shedding abroad the love of God in our hearts, then that manifestation must be first and always that we love them.
That's really good. Thank you for sharing that.